All right. So welcome everybody to our office hours with Stitchcraft Marketing. This topic is Know Your Why in July, part 2. And I'm Leanne Presley. I'm the CEO of Stitchcraft Marketing, and we do these office hours twice a month to try to present just a short, really quick topic, maybe 10, 15 minutes of presentation, and then we open up the floor for you guys to ask questions either about the topic or some other marketing challenge that you're having. We can talk about anything you want. So today's topic is a part 2 of a topic we were calling Know Your Why in July. And so I'm going to touch on it really, really quickly for those of you that maybe missed part 1, but if you do go to our YouTube channel, you can find part 1 and watch that video. Part 2 is going to be focused a little bit on a different angle. The idea is that you want to refer to your why to be able to make choices about social issues and the direction of your business. We've had a lot of really, well, a lot of things in 2020 that have been interesting, including, the COVID pandemic, of course, and some other more controversial issues that involve racism, diversity, inclusion. There's always a bit of politics thrown into the discussion lately. And so some businesses are really struggling with how to manage some of those issues when it comes to running their business. So we thought we'd give you a couple of examples of how you can use your why. And first we're going to touch base on what your why is and how to understand your why, and to sort of rely on your why statement to guide your path through some of these issues. And when you're at a point in your business and you're struggling with, how do I manage this? Or how do I respond to that comment? Or do I need a policy statement on my website? Or, any of these other questions that we're hearing a lot from clients, our hope is that we can just turn you right back around to your why statement, and that your answer will be within that why. So really quickly, let's just talk about this concept of start with why and find your why that we talk about a lot at the agency. And the idea originated with author Simon Sinek. And I always tell people, if this is a completely new concept to you, the best down and dirty way to learn about it is to jump over to his TED Talk. A lot of people have summarized that TED Talk on quick little YouTube snippets. You can pretty much get the gist of the concept in one of those 10-minute videos. But I strongly encourage you to get your hands on some of the books that you see here. He has 2 versions, the Start With Why and the Find Your Why, which are both really fantastic. And basically your why is really the reason that you get up out of bed in the morning. It's not about the outcome of your business. Like a lot of people will say, well, the reason I'm in business is so that I can make money and send my son to college. Well, that's an outcome, but that's not the reason that you get out of bed in the morning. It's not your why. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share with you a couple of worksheets that we put together that will help you go through the exercise of discovering your why if it's something that you're not quite comfortable with. There's a couple of different components to the exercise that Simon talks about in the TED Talk that I think are really valuable. So go ahead and check those out. But like I said, today we want to talk a little bit about some examples of other companies that have gone through, the decision to take a stance on something. A lot of times it can be controversial or politically charged. And so I just kind of want to give you some examples of those. And then a couple other slides about how, just other decisions that you need to make in your business can be informed by your why. So the first one that I want to start with is Nike. I think everybody's familiar with this brand. And Nike's why, which we can find in some of their mission statements, are our purpose moves us. And our purpose is to unite the world through sport to create a healthy planet, active communities, and an equal playing field for all. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the sponsorship that Nike had with Colin Kaepernick several years ago. And I'm sure you're familiar with some of the incidents with his NFL career, where he was kneeling at games as a form of protest for what he saw as racial injustice in America. And unless you were living in a cave, you probably saw a lot of the controversy on both sides. People were extremely passionate, and the CEO came back and wrote this statement. I'm forgetting his first name. I believe his last name is Knight. And he said, it doesn't matter how many people hate your brand as long as enough people love it. And as long as you have that attitude, you can't be afraid of offending people. You can't try and go down the middle of the road. You have to take a stand on something, which is ultimately why I think the Kaepernick ad worked. And you'll see the ad here on the right with the Nike logo and slogan. And I believe that this is a great example, because we tell clients a lot. I tell clients in consulting all the time, you are going to be frustrated and unsuccessful if you try to please all the people all the time. It's true in life, it's true in business, and you really do have to stand for something, and really digging deep and knowing what your why is going to guide you to be able to decide, what side you want to be on. If you're going to take a stance, and you're going to decide, you can't just be middle of the road. If we go back to, Nike's why, a lot of it has to do with purpose, and this whole movement of where they stood on the issue reinforced what their purpose was. The next one that I love, I cite this example all the time, is Patagonia. And Patagonia makes outdoor clothing predominantly, and they've been in business since 1985. And their why is to build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. And more recently on their website, just today I popped over there, and they've really condensed it down to say, we're in the business to save the planet. And so everything they do is reinforcing this why. It's almost to the point where they are activists at their core, and oh, by the way, they also make clothing. If you go to their website, you can see all the myriad ways in which they support their why. One early incident I pulled out from 2011, where they did an audit of some of their international factories, and found that they did have a really terrible slave labor incident in 2011. Well, they hired people to go in there and fix the problem, and they put in new policies, and boy, did they really put their money where their mouth was in order to reinforce where they stood on that issue, because it was in alignment with their why. They've donated over $100 million to causes, mostly in the fair trade, human rights, and environmental sectors. They do a great job with their actual product. That reinforces their why, such as their Traceable Down program. They've got a traceback sourcing program for all their wool products. If you go to their website, you can see a list of every material that goes into every product and how they are being responsible, environmentally responsible with producing those products. And then just in the last few months, they took a stance on boycotting Facebook with pulling their advertising this year, because their statement was such that they believed Facebook was unduly influencing elections and promoting hate speech. So they really do stand by all of their values in many different ways. And then lastly, I thought we would just talk really quickly about our agency. Our why is to support a sustainable, thriving craft industry that celebrates the joy of creativity. And, we have ourselves even dealt with, where we stand on a lot of the issues that have happened this year, most particularly with COVID. We met as a team, and we decided that, we really needed to reinforce what our why was with some pivoting of the activities that we do at the agency. Like, for example, I'm an SBA consultant, and so I brought in a lot of my expertise, knowing what I did about the EIDL loans and the PPP loans, and I was out there doing one-on-one meetings with our clients and with prospects and anybody who would listen about how to help them get some of the loans that were offered through the SBA. We did some greater outreach, like we started the office hours here to do more one-on-one with business owners. We stepped up our education on marketing advice specifically related to COVID. One example of that is more articles and blogs on e-commerce, because we really feel like, you know, things are going virtual, and our clients and prospects in the fiber and fabric world really need to know how to reach out either on an e-commerce platform to sell their products or to participate in what's happening virtually. So virtual shows, events, trunk shows, trying to help clients reinforce their skills on social media, because that is just going to be table stakes now. You've absolutely got to know how to communicate with your customers on social media. So we also pivoted, and it was easy for us to do because we just went back to our why. And we looked at, you know, what is our path? What is our goal? Why are we in business? And that really helped to inform our action going forward. So lastly, I just want to share with you some of the worksheets that we put together for you. One is the 5 why exercise, and the next one is the begin with the end exercise. This is the link. If you're on the call right now, you can, you can just put, you can go to the chat section, and Laura will put that link in, so you can click over to it and get those forms right away. If you're watching this on a replay, there's the link there at the bottom of the screen, and you'll find a landing page which you can download those worksheets and begin the exercise for you to find your why. So I promised it would be quick, 15 minutes, and then we get to some questions and take your feedback. So I will hit my stop share so I can see everybody. And the way that we do this is you can just, you know, unmute yourself. There's not a whole lot of people on the call today, and or shout out or ask questions. Like I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily about finding your why, but if there's something else you want to ask about, we can answer those questions as well. I do see Linda said to everyone that she doesn't have audio on the call. All right, Anne, thanks so much for coming today to the office hours. Linda, anything that you want to talk about today specifically on the office hours? You mentioned if we were considering putting a statement on our media. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that really quickly. So a lot of people are doing statements on their website about how they feel about certain things. I'm going to jump back to screen share really quick, and I can show you one that I was just actually looking at this morning. See if I can move this over. Hopefully you can see my screen. This is Airbnb, and they've actually got a couple of different statements. If you go over to their main page and you scroll all the way to the bottom here, you can see, you know, they've put it in the footer. Well, let me just see if I can show you that. You go to the main page here and scroll down to the bottom. They've got a couple here. One is their policy statement on diversity and belonging. And then they've got another one on against discrimination, and another one on, you know, accessibility, trust, you know, and so on. But, you know, I think that these are the ones that we're most recommending for our clients. If you have a website, which you should, you know, find somewhere that you can add an additional page that reflects where you stand on the issues that you are compelled to publish publicly about you and your business. This one for Airbnb talks about the diverse global community. They've got a whole mission statement from the CEO and different paragraphs on what they're doing to address the issue. And I love that they've got some great little stories here that reinforce, you know, what their why is and what their belief is in belonging and diversity and inclusion. I love also that they've got a way for people to respond back. It's just great. And people, I think, are out there looking to brands to explain where they stand on certain issues like diversity and inclusion. And so this is a great way for you to just, you know, have it out there, and that way you're providing, you know, the answers to those questions that are likely to be coming in from your customers. I can quickly show you the other one they have for against discrimination. It's similar, you know, and what their action items have been, and the new projects that they've put in place to fight discrimination on their platform. Which, if you don't know, Airbnb is a peer-to-peer sharing resource for hotel stays. It's like a hotel stay, but you're actually renting from another private individual. And then they've also got this page on how to get involved. And, you know, again, if that's something that you want to include on your website, here's an example of how you would do that. All right. Linda, does that help with what you were seeking? All right, I would say if there's other topics that anyone would like to bring up, we can do that now. Otherwise, I'll say it will be a short and sweet office hours this session. All right, I would say going, gone. If you'd like to revisit the first part of the Know Your Why, feel free to find that on our YouTube. If you'd like more information about Stitchcraft Marketing, our agency, you can find that at our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com. And if you have direct questions, you can feel free to email me personally. You can go to stitchcraftmarketing.com to our contact page and fill out that quick little form that bounces right over to us. And we're happy to get back to you on any specific questions that you have. So thanks everybody for joining the office hours. Laura, do you want to share with our audience when the next office hours is?
Sure. Our next office hours is going to be August. I should have had this ready.
Oh, sorry.
Next office hours is going to be August 11th. And we are going to talk more about Pinterest stories and videos. We're going to be writing a blog post about that and how to do it. And we'll talk more and answer questions about kind of the nitty-gritty. So yeah, that will be our next one.
Really looking forward to that. And I would say if you haven't really explored Pinterest, you don't want to miss this office hours. We're just seeing more and more clients that are seeing some really great incoming traffic from their Pinterest accounts. So we want to make sure that everybody knows how to do it well. And Laura's got some great tips and tricks that she's going to share on that next office hours as well. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. And thanks again for your time. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.